Do you see that approach, offering these economic incentive packages, as a contradiction, though, with the concept of letting the marketplace decide?
Not if you do a cost-benefit analysis on it. If somebody's going to bring 100 jobs here and it's going to generate, whatever, $2 million in new tax, I'm making these numbers up, but I mean, somebody check the numbers, but if you're going to have 100 new jobs here and it's going to generate millions of dollars in new revenue, am I opposed to using some of that new revenue generated for an incentive to get the business to locate here? No. I think the cost-benefit analysis is very much in line with what a business person would look at.
Well, I'll just follow up on it again, because I'm not sure, when you say cost-benefit, I guess it depends on what you measure the benefit as. And so,
right. Can
you shed any light on that as
sure.
to if there was $1 million in incentives from the state, what would you view as the benchmark, or the low end of where the benefit would start accruing to the state?
I think that needs to be worked out and negotiated, but again, it needs to be viewed in the big picture that it is beneficial on a long-term basis to the taxpayers here in the state of Wisconsin, and I think it's also a business person's perspective to look at this and say, well, it's not just the employees that are paying taxes, but the building gets built, that pays taxes. There are other aspects of it, the community that the business locates in. There's going to be some benefit in that community because those employees that are now earning a wage are going to spend money in the local stores. I mean, there's more to it than just the business itself, and I think it needs to be looked at from a big picture perspective.
But if I could just follow up, I would venture to say if Governor Doyle was in the office, was here now, maybe there's been some loans or incentives to businesses that have not worked out. But by and large, that's exactly what I think he would argue, is that we provide an X amount of money, and we had increased tax base, we had employment base, we had a new construction of a building, and that went to the property tax base. All those, that's the same kind of argument that I think you would hear from the Doyle administration.
I never once, first off, Jim Doyle, at the end of the day, lost for the state of Wisconsin. It's not him by himself, but his administration oversaw this state as we lost over 100,000 jobs, 120,000 jobs in the last 12 months. So when we talk about incentive packages for businesses coming to the state of Wisconsin, we need to remember that the net loss of the jobs to the state of Wisconsin has been immense. We are sitting in Milwaukee here. We are in one of the metropolitan areas. If you compare large metropolitan areas across the country, people in Milwaukee think we're suffering through a recession. We're not only suffering through a recession, we are suffering worse than any place else in the country in terms of job loss, with the exception of Detroit. Folks, it's not happening all over the country the way it's happening here. And there are metropolitan areas like Milwaukee that are actually growing today. So when I look at this picture, I can't look at Jim Doyle's practices and say this is a good thing, because it's not a good thing, because ultimately they did not work. When I set a vision for the state of Wisconsin that we're the best place in the world to do business, I make that vision measurable. It's not by whether or not we are able to attract a business and do a political event and make everybody think that I attracted a business to the state. It's by whether or not we're attracting more jobs as a state on the whole than other states around the country. That's very different than the politics of this thing, where you attract one business and you go stand on a bandstand someplace and cheer. This has got to be a net impact for the people of Milwaukee and the people of the state of Wisconsin. And it should be measured on a net basis. And we hadn't ought to be cheering until we start attracting jobs to the state on a net basis. But to your question and your point, I have not once seen a cost to the taxpayers stacked up against a benefit analysis. And it may be because I'm too busy in my business. That's possible he's done it. I have never seen, at this point in time, from Jim Doyle, or for that matter, others that might be in this race, a statistical cost-benefit analysis on what they are doing in terms of bringing businesses to the state. And again, if they have had them, it might be because I've been too busy working in my business to see them. I haven't seen them. They talk about these things, but I haven't actually seen numbers laid out. As a business owner, I guarantee you I want to see the numbers.